Oh, Shabbat Shalom! And welcome back to the musical way of Torah. Truth, the way of truth through Torah. The little tambourines kind of threw me off there. And bye, Valerie.
We're doing a little testing procedure.
So everybody knows after our lunch on Shabbat, we get just a little bit crazy, and that's okay.
We had chocolate cake.
Because we had chocolate cake and cherry pie. Strawberry pie. I made it. I should have known what it was. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start without Valerie because she's busy there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
Sugar!
Okay,
Like 1 minute.
so guys, we are going to finish 1 Timothy today. We're going to finish the whole thing. Okay, so we're not slowing down. We're not waiting for Valerie. Or anyone.
Valerie.
I can't find it. It won't let me.
Well, that's me.
Valerie.
Okay,
All right.
we're going to go ahead and get started. Chapter 4, verse 1. And what you have to understand is we spent the last 3 weeks on 1 through 5. Okay. You want to read? It's not going to work?
I don't think, I'm gonna have to kind of play around with yours, so we'll do it at the end.
Okay,
We'll get
perfect.
serious and study.
Chapter 4, I'll get back over there.
You cut me off?
Just for a second. You left me. You left me, baby. Okay. Okay.
Now all I can hear is what's that guy, Johnny Bravo? Have you ever seen?
No.
You ever watch Johnny Bravo? Did you watch it? He wore the black t-shirt and had the big blonde hair. Okay, sorry.
Okay, I'm going to start.
Okay.
Okay, y'all ready?
Marty Marcus said.
But the Spirit distinctly says that in latter times some shall fall away from the belief, paying attention to misleading spirits and teachings of demons, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having been branded on their own conscience, forbidding to marry, saying to abstain from foods which Elohim created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth, because every creature of Elohim is good and knows to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving, for it is set apart by the word of Elohim in prayer. Okay, I'm just going to briefly say the first 2 weeks we spent telling you all the doctrines of demons that are being taught within the 4 walls of a lot of the church buildings, guys. And let's just name a few of them, and then we're going to go forward because we're not going to stop because we've already got teaching on it. But let's say once saved, always saved. Let's say, what are those? All those, there's so many of them.
Christmas is the birth of the Messiah.
Oh, we didn't teach on that, but Christmas is not the birth of Messiah, but that's what they teach in there. And so that is one of the doctrines of demons. Whose name are you praying in? Are your prayers being answered? And they're not being answered because, why? Unless you're being obedient to Torah, unless you're hearing the Torah, your Abba turns his ear away from you. There's no Trinity.
Change the name of the Father.
They've changed the name of the Father and the Son.
They removed it 6,828 times.
828 times from the scriptures. They've also removed the name of Yahusha, and they replaced it with the name of Jesus. Well, let's see here. The calendar's wrong. His name's not God or Lord. Let's see.
Law.
The law has not been done away with. Thank you, Grant. All of the festivals that are practiced by the pagans, by the Christian churches, are pagan holidays.
Sabbath.
And they are not. The Sabbath is on Sunday, is on Saturday, and not on Sunday. It's the 7th day of the week, not the first day of the week. We're not under the new covenant. We're not under the new covenant yet. First of all, it's not a new covenant. It will be a renewed covenant, and we're under that during the millennial reign. We can eat anything we want because everything's food now. That's a lie. That is a lie. You still, listen, if what Abba said 3,500 years ago was food, it's still food today. If he said 3,500 years ago it's a filter, it's still a filter today. Hasn't changed. If anything's changed, it's become worse. So there's just all kinds of doctrines of demons that are being taught. Let's see. There's just so much. So much. So Yahweh doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So we're going to stay with that. Food is defined in Leviticus 11. And I urge everyone to go to Leviticus 11, read what food is. Go to Leviticus 23, see what festivals we should be. They're Abba's festivals. We should be celebrating those. Not the traditions of men. The traditions of men nullify the word of Yah. They do. So you want to follow the traditions of men? No, lay down the Bible because you're not going to find them in here. You're not going to find the birth of Christ. You're not going to find the Ishtar celebration day. You're not going to find Halloween, Valentine's Day. What are some others? St. Patrick's Day.
4th of July.
4th of July.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. You're not going to find any of these. Now, more than likely, most of the pagan holidays were actually taken from the Hebrew calendar and then they switched it to something that had nothing at all to do with our Father's commandments. Ever.
Like Hanukkah into Christmas.
Yeah, like they took Hanukkah and they turned it into Christmas. Thank you, that's a good one. And listen, a lot of people today celebrate Hanukkah as Christmas.
I did that.
Guys, that you don't replace pagan holidays with another holiday. You just don't do it. Rob, you've never exchanged gifts, have you? Except maybe on birthdays or no? You
Even birthdays is pagan.
Wow.
Indulging yourself.
so who was all about me? You?
Satan. No, I was just raising my
And
hand.
went really high. I wish I could have seen it.
Sorry, I was a terror, not a weeds. Sorry.
So Satan was all about me. It's about me. It's about me, and me. And this is my day. It's my birthday. Celebrate me. So when you're celebrating a birthday, it's really about who? You. So done with that. What else? Anything else? We're gonna go forward. So food is not what he's talking. He's talking about food is good. If Abba said that cow was food, lamb is food, deer's food, goat's food, all of these you can eat. And it doesn't matter if they've been sacrificed to an idol. The idol means nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's nothing.
There's no power over y'all.
It's a piece of stone or wood that has no power.
Amen.
So even if it's been sacrificed, you can eat it. But if it's going to affect Valerie over here and she's going to go, oh, she's eating that because it's been sacrificed to an idol, then I'm going to go, we're not going to eat this today because it's been sacrificed to an idol for her benefit. But what Paul says back in other scriptures is it doesn't bother me. Doesn't matter to me one way or the other.
And
Okay.
also, too, they were probably going through the same things that the children of Israel were going through, the mixed multitude.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine all the different people who had witnessed the many, many wonders and things that Messiah did.
Yes.
And then, never mind, I'm probably going way in a whole other direction.
Well,
Like,
go ahead.
don't eat that. That's cow. We don't eat cow because of where I come from. It was like this. Or,
Well, what is it? India, where the cow is sacred,
yeah.
and the rats are too. Is that, or is it China where the rats are sacred? Everybody's got a sacred animal, don't they?
Teenage.
Huh?
I said teenage mutant ninja turtles.
They do like
I'm sorry.
Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not food.
Sorry.
Okay, verse 6, and now we go forward. And guys, any place in here, if you see a verse that we need to stop and talk about, please stop me. If you present these matters to the brothers, you shall be a good servant of Yahusha Messiah, being nourished in the words of belief and the good teaching which you have followed closely. Now you have to remember, this is his first letter to Timothy, and he's about to be gone. So we've got one letter to Timothy, the next one is his second letter to Timothy, and then the letter to Titus or Titus is his very last letter. It's the last letter we get from Paul. So you have to understand, he is trying to give Timothy, who he calls like his son, all the information, all the data he can pour into him, because he knows that this man has followed him. It is going to be like a little mini Paul, right? He's going to be teaching just like Paul did. So he's trying to pour into him. Okay, let's do it. Refuse, here we go, Seth. But refuse profane and old wives' fables and exercise yourself rather to reverence.
Refuse profane and old wives.
Okay, so what's an old wives' tale? Step on a crack,
Oh.
break your mother's back.
Yeah.
What was yours downstairs earlier?
No, it's chewing gum.
Chewing gum. Oh,
Chewing gum. when you
chewing gum makes you actually be able to do 2 or 3 other things at one time.
No, if you
Play
play
guitar.
guitar and sing, you have a piece of gum in your mouth. It kind of.
So we're not supposed to be doing that?
Chewing gum?
Supposed to be doing those things.
Was
No, what does he say here? Refuse profane and old wives' fables.
So we should refuse those.
So,
This is
age-
right after he's talking about good teachings, following closely.
Yeah.
Imagine the things that were going around then. Well, my father,
Mhm.
we've always done this, still
Mhm.
going back to the traditions and the old tales that were handed down.
That's exactly what he's talking about.
I think that's making an old wives' tale is not bad because some of it's great wisdom to hear and to know.
Or like,
Don't
us
step on the
Greens,
crack.
we do this.
Not like my grandma making honey and lemon and things like that, little teas whenever you're sick. My mom used to make this for me. Those little things are okay. But
Those are more of traditional medicines, but here he's talking about the fables and the old,
tales.
yes,
Yes.
the wives' tales, which would be, the mysteries of if you do this, if you walk under a ladder, don't walk under a
Yeah.
ladder, don't open an umbrella in the house. These
Jinx.
are old, these are just old wives.
Jinx, you
Don't-
owe me a Coke.
Don't let a black cat cross in front of you. Just don't get in.
Don't step
there.
on your mom on a crack, step on
Sir?
your back.
Run over it, yeah.
Run over.
Rob said hit it. Hey, my cat was black.
Step on a crack, break your mom's back.
That's right. Sir,
I killed Rocket.
your cat?
No.
Your dog?
Rocket. On the Guardians
Raccoon.
of the Galaxy.
Raccoon.
Oh, you killed, I killed Rocket Raccoon
I did.
yesterday too.
You know, swimming
It was
after
a big one,
eating.
too.
Yeah, you're not supposed to swim after you eat. But
Remember how
these,
me and you talked about that?
but it's because the food has not digested and your stomach could cramp up. That actually is a truth to it.
That's
but,
what I thought too.
But it's never happened to me. Don't
never
eat
happened.
fish and milk together.
What?
Yeah,
I think I
that's
had it once.
that's just some of the old fables or wives' tales that used to. And Paul says, refuse them. Just refuse the profane and old wives' tales, wives' fables, and exercise yourself rather to reverence. So pay more attention to reverence, heed reverence, and not wives' tales. Bodily exercise is profitable a little, but reverence is profitable for all, having the promise of the present life and of that which is to come. So he's saying it's okay if you exercise, but it's better if you pay and deal more efficiently with reverence. Be reverent in everything that you do.
It's like, are all these wives' tales, fable tales, and exercises that going to get us to the kingdom?
Mm-mm.
If we're like a good bodybuilder and got ourselves in shape. No.
Right.
Reverences.
So, Bethany, what you're saying right there, the physical exercise, the old wives' tales and stuff like that, that's for this current age. How
Right.
long does this current age last?
Not long.
It's like a beautiful flower. It blooms,
1,000 years.
it dies, the wind comes along, blows it away, and it's remembered no more. So this is temporary. What is permanent?
Yeah.
everlasting life.
Once we die physically to this body, then our forever body, our spiritual life begins. That's when it really begins. That's when life really begins. This is an exercise in getting to the kingdom. Okay? You don't get but one chance. You get a lifetime of one chance, but you've got to make the right choice
We should run the race in the way
to win it.
to win.
Run
To
the
obtain
race as if you're going to win it. So run hard. Okay. Trustworthy is a word, which oops, my book holder has my word, which is this. So trustworthy, my book holder won't let me have it. Trustworthy is a word and worthy of all acceptance. It is for this that we labor and struggle because we trust in the living Elohim, who is the Savior of all men, particularly of those who believe. Command and teach these matters. So he's telling him, be forceful. Carry authority. Give commands to the people around you and teach everything in the Word. Let no one look down on your youth, because Timothy was young. But be an example to the believers in word, in behavior, in love, in spirit, in belief, in cleanliness. So guys, listen, you young guys in here, you can teach a lot, because I'm going to tell you something. If someone older fella or woman is watching y'all and you're behaving reverently, calmly, peacefully, and they're over there misbehaving, you're going to convict them. Don't you think, Rob?
What was the question?
It's not a trick question.
Oh, this is-
I could tell his.
It's that seat, Vicky, I'm telling you,
It's-
it's like,
That's
It's
why
that
we
couch.
fell asleep.
If I sit on that couch, I fall.
yeah.
I like that, which is not pretty. Okay.
And that right here.
Oh no. So let no one look down on you because of your age, because I'm going to tell you something. Y'all can teach a lot. You young kids, you're like a sponge. You soak
Yeah.
up everything. You remember it. And I'm hearing words coming back from y'all that we taught a long time ago.
And
And
the
you're
good
still
thing
saying it.
Sometimes
The
I
good
forget
thing is,
where they
uh,
remember things.
is, you'll be teaching a generation that doesn't know anything about this,
Yeah.
and who's very lax in their, what they do now.
You're our next generation.
Why we're here is to train up the next generation.
Yep.
Of teachers. Okay. So do all these things. Live in spirit, in belief, in cleanliness until I come, and give attention to reading of Scripture, to encouragement, and to teaching. Read the Scriptures. Now mine is italicized. Mine is
Those are,
So attention to reading, and they've added in of Scripture. But let me ask you, what else was there to read in those days?
not Harry Potter.
There wasn't anything else. There
There's nothing.
wasn't,
Nothing.
there wasn't Harry Potter. There weren't like dime novels or love stories. There wasn't none of that. There was the Scriptures, and not everyone had those. Okay. Do not neglect the gift that is in you, which was given to you by prophecy with the laying on of the hands of the elderhood. Practice these matters, be in them so that your progress might be plain to all. Pay attention to yourself and to the teaching. Continue in them, for in doing this, you will save both yourself and those who hear you. Listen, if you're teaching one thing and doing another, who are you going to be like? The Pharisees and stuff. You're going to
Hypocrites.
You're going to be a hypocrite. You're going to be like a whitewashed tomb. Do you want to start in Bob? What?
Well,
Are
okay,
you still on
so
13?
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still there.
Which, in the complete Jewish, it says, pay attention to the public reading of the scriptures.
Okay.
So in here it was like
So maybe
to
like with y'all teaching, we should pay attention or something.
a knowing of the summons of the instruction. That's pretty much what that Greek breaks down to.
What does it say?
The
So the
instructions
word,
for us.
give attention to the reading, to exhortation, and to doctrine. The Greek is for reading is like to know, knowing, owning, reading. And then exhortation was,
But I mean, he says pay attention to reading, but in the scriptures is what's been removed.
But the word is actually teaching or instruction. So it would be
Okay.
the same thing, but it was kind of like because reading of scripture.
Well, and that goes along with encouragement and teaching.
Yeah.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
Okay,
Don't neglect the, okay, so we've done all of 4. Would
Okay.
you start 5?
sure.
Thank you.
Do not rebuke an older woman, but appeal.
That is not what they said.
Oh, my bad.
Older man.
Do not rebuke an older man.
Yes.
But appeal to him as a father, younger ones as a brother, elderly women as mothers, younger ones as sisters in all cleanliness. Respect widows. You got something right there?
Well, I mean, when you read through this, it always teaches us to pay respect to our elders. It would be
And the
anyone
younger ones
older
are
than y'all,
still-
so I'm the oldest one in the room.
So y'all respect me.
So hey, no,
I don't consider you an elderly woman, though.
I'm an elder.
No, but this said,
Respect me.
this said elderly
R-S-P-E-C-T.
Yes.
elderly women
Listen to
as
that song.
mothers.
Elderly women, what?
As mothers.
As mothers, yes.
It's just weird to think of you as an elderly woman.
So you're supposed to honor elderly women
Right.
and elderly men. We treat them as fathers, we treat them as mothers. And that's what we
Treat 'em
do.
like they're your mom.
When Valerie was here, we treated her as a
Yes.
mom.
Yes.
I mean, all of
Just
us
like our
did.
mom, yeah.
Yeah, and we
Because
still
we
treat her that way.
honor
We
and
still love her
respect.
that way. Yes.
And you're our mom.
Oh, goodness.
You've got a lot of kids.
I've got so many kids. Okay.
Respect widows who are truly widows. But if any widow has children or grandchildren, let them first learn to treat their own house reverently and to repay their parents. For this is good and acceptable before Elohim.
So this is what we should be doing today, guys. What do we do with our parents? We carry them and put them in a nursing home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we see happening all over the place. They get older, we just take them to the nursing home, or we let them become dependent on the city or the state. It's our job to take care of our parents.
And if
And
they have like Alzheimer's or anything, we should.
if they get to the place where you can't handle them, it's going to be in their best interest to put them in like a nursing
I was
house.
just wondering. If
Yes.
that will still be.
There's a place where it's not healthy for them, and it can
Right.
get to the place where it's not healthy for you.
Yeah.
Well, think about the way it was set up back in the day in the, as far as in the camps.
Mhm.
Like all one family lived in one area, brothers, whatever, aunts, uncles. And then as the parents got older, the younger ones would take over the work in the farms or doing the trades.
Yeah.
And the grandparents were probably there to help with the cooking or the cleaning or
Mhm.
whatever. Like they were still
Watching
being
the
taken,
kids.
watching kids.
Mhm.
They were still being taken care of. It wasn't like, that's what I'm always trying to tell my mom. She gets really bent out of shape. She's like, I don't need you to take care of me. That is my job.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have to be coming towards the end, the later part of your life, and have to worry about bills and things, especially in this day in the
Right.
world. They should be taken care of. And I
Very
think
true.
That's
that's
so cool because you're going over there and you're going to take care of her.
for my grandparents. I don't know. I
That's
felt
good.
like that was something I'm supposed to do as well.
It's our
Yeah.
job.
Because our society isn't set up the way it used to be.
No. Well,
Getting
we're not.
worse and worse and worse.
Okay, but look at families now. They split out. I mean, so your kids may live in a completely different state.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
This one wants to move away from us.
I don't blame you.
Wants to be close.
She wants to come to
I'm
Arkansas. That's it.
But now I don't want her. I want to live close.
I bet you do.
I bet you want to live real close.
A little close to JC Lacey. No, okay.
Oh, we're online.
You weren't supposed to say that, Val.
I'm so sorry.
I
Keep
did not.
watching, see?
I didn't
They're
say that.
So nothing.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Are they?
I think so. Seth told them that we were on.
I'm sorry.
Okay, keep reading.
Okay,
Big
back to
mouth.
the window. Okay, and
Are you growling?
yes, and she who is truly a widow and left alone trusts in Elohim and continues in petitions and prayers night and day. Night and day. Sounds like a really special place to be as far as
How nice would that be?
to sit there and stay and petition for your family, for your loved
So
ones.
would they lie about being widows? Because it says who are truly widows.
Well, you could see even in today's world where some people use circumstances to gain or take advantage.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to point them towards the type of woman this widow that needs help should be,
Yeah, okay.
maybe.
A woman without children.
Because
Or
this says now,
grandchildren.
in the Jewish, it says now the widow who is really in need.
Yeah.
He says it up there too.
So I guess there's some that.
And guys, there were
Truly
probably
widows.
widows that were capable of taking care of their own selves. They may
Yeah.
have been left with plenty. So
Well, he's going to go on and start talking about some of them who were just busy.
I see that.
Yeah, they were busybodies. Okay, but she who is living in luxury is dead while she lives.
Oh, okay.
And command these matters in order for them to be blameless. And if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the belief and is worse than an unbeliever.
Oh, that's scary.
Ouch.
Mm.
I mean, preparing for your home. Do not enroll a widow unless she is over 60 years of age, having been the wife of one man, well reported for good works, if she has been brought up, or if she has brought up children, if she has lodged strangers, if she has washed the feet of the set apart ones, if she has assisted the afflicted, if she has closely followed every good work. But refuse the younger widows, for when they become headstrong against the Messiah, they desire to marry, having guilt because they set aside their first belief.
That is a really strange. I mean, okay, so when they become headstrong against the Messiah, they desire to marry. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
When they
and then-
become headstrong against Yahusha,
Look, it says in the complete Jewish, but refuse to enroll younger widows for when they begin to feel natural passions that alienate them from the Messiah.
It sounds like they're
they're wanting to marry.
well, and
They-
but
Well,
this
they're
is for a
young, so-
specific positions. He's like, do not enroll. What are we enrolling them into?
Into widowhood.
Oh, so don't even do it.
It's just registering them as
Right.
a widow, so that then you start taking care of them. So I guess what he's saying is, once you start taking care of them, then they become passionate for a man, and then they go get married. But he's saying that that could be a sin because they've been taking money as widows. I can see that now.
We're
Okay.
saying like don't even waste your time with that because they're going to go on and marry. But these older ones who have good works, or
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of felt like maybe he was putting them into a position, like, which as a widow in these kind of groups probably did take care of, and then were taken care of in return. Moreover, they learn to be idle, going about from house to house, and not only idle, but also gossips and bitty buddies.
Bitty bodies.
I hate
Gossips and bitty
busybodies.
Goosies.
Busy bodies, speaking what is improper.
So what is that? Excuse me.
That's cute.
So sorry.
Oh my gosh, did you hear about Martha the other day? I saw her walking down the street and she had 10 bushels of something after she told me she didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't even think.
What? You're
She's
bending
like,
your
what?
ear, Vicky.
I know about Martha.
So guys, this is evil.
Yes.
I mean,
Yep.
what that would be is literally, go back to Romans 1:28.
You're just talking about that grumbling.
Just
you know,
dump
that-
it all into evil, and Abba has no time. He has no patience for that. Okay.
And it sounds like she was not speaking very well. She
Uh-uh.
was speaking improperly and probably just smushing things up, going house to house or whatever.
Stirring
Well,
the pot.
That's
What
it.
does Proverbs say about idleness? It's the devil's
Devil's-
workshop.
Yes.
That's exactly what he's saying here, is that moreover they learn to be idle, going about from house to house. They've got nothing better to do. And not only idle, but they also gossip, and they're busybodies.
I know some ladies.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I can just tell that this is
Uh-huh.
what they have to do during the day is just kind of stir up strife or whatever.
Yep.
And it's, yeah. Anyway, somebody the other day, I was just like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. I don't want to know all that stuff. So I resolved And I think that's just some of the older women who are looking out and they're seeing things that are different than the way they used to be. And I think it's frustrating, but then sometimes it can cross over into that busybody stuff. So I resolve that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house, giving no occasion to the adversary for rebelling. Be busy at home.
Well, he tells you work 6 days. If you're managing your house, bearing children, taking care of everything that goes on, you're not going to have time for idle gossip.
That's so
Yeah.
true, yeah.
Well, and then he says that no occasion for the adversary. So, I mean, that, like you said, that Proverbs, what was that Proverbs?
I didn't.
Okay, don't worry about
find
it. Never mind.
I didn't
I'll
quote it,
look
but
it
I'll
up.
find it. I can find my phone.
For already some have turned aside after Satan. It sounded like there was something seriously going on with this little group of people
Well,
that
I
he's
mean,
responding to.
if these women are sitting around idly talking about others, that is Satan.
If any believing man or woman has widows, let such assist them, and do not let the assembly be burdened, in order to assist those who are truly widows. Just keeps- Like the elders who rule well, let the elders who rule well be counted worthy of double respect, especially those who labor in the word and teaching.
Okay, y'all hear that? So let's show Vicky double respect.
Double portion of respect
love you,
for you,
Vicky.
girl.
I love that too.
You need anything?
Some coffee?
I would love some coffee.
Look, he looks over at Grant. Grant. Poor
It's
Grant.
a chain. It's a chain. Chain of command.
She's like,
So Grant has to
my
serve.
wrist, the color of my wrist,
Hey, you know
please.
who serves you? Chloe.
You just
No, I serve Chloe. I beat her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm just the second servant.
Be careful with my cup, it's
Yeah.
special.
It's very special.
It's my Yahweh cup. Okay.
Okay. So, for the scripture says, you shall not muzzle an ox while it treads out the grain, and the laborer is worthy of his wages. Do not receive an accusation against an elder, except from 2 or 3 witnesses.
Okay.
So, I won't be talking smack about you anymore
Why is
until I
everybody
get more.
looking at me?
Because you're the elder.
What you been saying, Vicky?
No, without 2 witnesses, we won't be coming to say nothing.
Okay, good.
We won't be talking smack.
Don't be smacking me.
Reprove those who are sinning in the presence of all, so that the rest also might fear. This is a pretty interesting chapter. I earnestly witness before Elohim and the Master Yahusha Messiah and the chosen messengers that you watch over these matters without prejudice, doing none at all with partiality. Do not lay hands on anyone hastily, nor share in sins of others. Keep yourselves clean. No longer drink only water, but use a little wine for your stomach's sake and for your frequent ailments. The sins of some men are obvious, leading on to judgment, but those of some men follow later. In the same way, the good works are obvious, while it is impossible to conceal those that are otherwise.
Good works are very obvious.
Yes.
Okay.
So what you got to say about all this stuff?
What is prejudice mean?
Is if you tend
Pride and
to,
prejudice.
you have things that you don't like. You would be prejudiced against that. Let's say you like purple over the color yellow. You're prejudiced against yellow, but for purple.
Prejudice about bread, but you be loving potatoes.
You could be prejudiced
So what matters?
from you could not like the Greeks. You could be prejudiced against the Greeks,
There you go.
but love the Jews. Okay?
But it says.
Don't be partial. It's like not being. Don't be partial.
Go ahead.
That's like, or you could be like for the Cowboys versus the Texans.
There you go.
you
And
shouldn't
that
be
would be
for-
prejudice for the Cowboys. There you go.
So it says not without prejudice.
Yes. No.
We shouldn't be for the Cowboys.
Oh, we
Not
shouldn't be like.
We for both of them.
You don't have favorites.
Don't hate the Texans.
favorites.
the
Don't
people.
pick favorites.
Yeah, you're
So-
not supposed to pick favorites.
Like, not a teacher's pet.
Yeah, you're over here trying to be my teacher's pet. Like, don't be doing that.
That would be okay.
And he's also saying
Oh, it's
don't watch over these
Vicky.
matters. He's talking
Approve the
about
leaders.
She can't be prejudiced you against Grant.
Yeah.
Okay, but you
I
can
can't
strive to be her pet. You can strive to be her favorite.
Right. correct?
That's what we're doing with ABBA.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, we're
is
striving.
But it's not a competition. Because we're
Are
gonna
you
be
gonna
one.
are you gonna run the race as if to win it?
I can run
Then it is a competition.
against Satan. Not against her. I want her with me.
Everybody
For you.
wants, well, and that's the way it should be. But you're running the race and you're responsible for your own race.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but
I get
you,
what you're saying.
as the mother, you can't pick one child over the other. So no prejudice
And plus,
is
they're
there.
two totally different.
But her wanting to achieve
Be-
well for you, that's okay. Am I
But-
wrong, or somebody can speak up?
That was right.
But what if they're comparing each other? They compare a lot with each
Yeah,
other.
it says in scripture not to compare.
And yeah,
yourself
don't
to
compare
one
yourself to
another.
others. But it's okay to strive to be wonderful for
Like
mom.
to do good for me.
To show
Mhm.
reverence to it.
Yeah, that's what.
Everybody on board with that? We have any other opinions?
Hey,
I think that's great.
Aye.
So what are you gonna do for me, Bailey? You ready for it?
Okay.
So he was kind of telling Timothy, don't look over these matters with partiality. Don't look at one as worse than the other or one is better than the
Right.
other. They're all the same. They're all things that shouldn't
All
be
struggles
done.
the same.
None of those. So don't look over those matters with partiality. They're all equally as bad.
You break the least of them, you break them all.
Yeah.
Not one sin better than another.
Con leche.
Gracias. Sin leche?
I feel like they just set off that thing. My ears ringing.
What thing?
Somebody closed that computer. I think it's because
Probably the tambourines that we were playing.
Scoot, scoot,
all these phones and all these
scoot,
computers.
scoot.
Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
my ears were ringing all of a sudden. I don't know why.
Okay, that is a very good point.
Yes.
But listen to this one. Do not lay hands on anyone hastily, nor share in sins of others. Don't get mad and
Put
start
your hands on somebody.
pushing on somebody or
Oh, I see a lawsuit.
That's
1-800 call me.
which guys means be under control. I mean,
Self-control.
Keep yourself
Self-control.
clean. He keeps
So-
mentioning that, and cleanliness, and cleanliness.
Yeah.
Keeping yourself clean, like you in the question. Blameless. Don't allow these circumstances to cause you to fall off or to act out of character.
then he gives them a little bit of medical advice.
Well, read number 23 now.
We did.
Oh,
Oh. No longer drink water, but use a little wine for your stomach's sake. And
That's some medical advice.
It's actually good for your stomach.
It
Yeah.
is.
You drink
So I can
wine every
drink now.
once in a while.
Okay, let's one more time go over that. Drinking is not a sin,
yeah,
but overindulging
I know. It is.
in food, in drink, in anything you do is a sin. Anything. You can listen, I know some people who will forsake helping a person so that they can study scripture. I think about that. You can you get so involved that you're not helping anybody? You can. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I mean, y'all know that you can talk back to me. You don't
We
have
know,
to-
we just
I'm
read
not-
over here. We're
I'm not so elder that.
We can't. It says, do not, without the witnesses, do not receive an accusation.
There's only 2 right now.
God, nobody else is saying anything. No, I totally agree.
I agree too.
She
You
just
can be
said,
so involved that it's selfishness.
That's it.
Because
That is it.
we're supposed to be called to be servers, to
That's
serve
it.
others
To
when they need
servants.
help.
That's it.
So I mean, that's part of.
overindulgence causes things to be
You're just like
imbalanced.
this the whole time,
Or like this the whole time.
or this, you know,
Valerie.
Or that.
or.
Okay. 6. See, we're doing pretty good. 38 minutes.
There we go.
It's a miracle. Let those who are servants under a yoke regard their own masters worthy of all respect, lest the name of Elohim and his teaching be blasphemed. So guys, if you're working for someone, if you're working with someone, treat them with respect.
Well, everything that we do is for him.
Everything, it says you should work as if you're doing your work for
For
him.
him.
Right.
So,
So
you
in
are
all things.
blaspheming him in
Yes.
his name. If you carry
And
his
you-
name,
yeah.
when you do those things, people are like, oh, well, look at her. She's supposed to
Right.
be.
We're supposed to be examples.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be an example if we're being
That's right.
disobedient.
That's exactly
Nobody's
right.
gonna want to be on that wall. They're gonna be like, what?
Okay, those who have believing masters, let them not disregard them because they are brothers, but rather serve them because they are believing and beloved ones. Those receiving the good service in return teach and urge these matters. So just because if you're working for someone and they are a believer, it doesn't mean you treat them with any less respect because they're a brother. I mean, don't abuse your right as a brother if you're working for someone. Does that make sense? I know. But that would be for all of us. That's all of us. Every single one of us.
So you shouldn't be abusing us the way you do at work.
That's not what it said. It said, you shouldn't be abusing me. Let's see. Those who have believing masters, let them not disregard them.
Oh man, because they're brothers.
Okay, now listen, this is important. If anyone teaches differently and does not agree to the sound words, those of our Master Yahusha Messiah, and to the teaching which is according to reverence, he is puffed up, understanding none at all, but is sick about questionings, excuse me, and verbal battles from which come envy, strife, slander, and wicked suspicions, worthless disputes of men, corrupt minds, and deprived of the truth, who think that reverence is a means of gain. Withdraw from such.
Yes. I see this stuff all the time, though.
Yes.
It's just like
Respect is deserved.
to be right.
Stuff
Like
like
they
that,
will
too.
argue.
People think respect is deserved.
Well, this is, I think she's talking about the disputes.
Oh, yeah, arguing, yeah.
And respect has to be earned.
Yes.
But worthless disputes, guys, it doesn't achieve anything.
All the babblings about the names and the calendars and the back and forth. And
Don't get involved with it.
it is.
If each person, and so Rob brought up something, Rob and Tanya brought up something today about the name. Well, guess what? I'm going to go research that because it's the first time I've heard that. So when we are taught something different from what we've thought we have learned throughout, what do? We stop what we're doing, and then we go and we research it. And so that's where we need to be, not just followers of everyone out there, right? So Stephen Pigeon also was using that name. Was he in? Stephen Pigeon, Dr. Stephen Pigeon, and Epsepher?
Huh?
I don't know.
Oh.
Heard that name before, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Good. No, I think it's something, and that's how you handle a moment like that, is you go to search it out and look for it. That's the way it should be. I love
Yes.
that this group is like that.
Well, and this group is very much like that. So if we're confronted about something that we thought was truth, listen, it's not that we're going to take your word for it, but we will go and search it out. And,
Before everything else had Yahweh in it,
mm-hmm.
when they changed it, I believe it's a conspiracy. Because they wanted to make more money. And they were selling the books. But
How long
my
ago was
wife
that?
selling lots of books.
Long time ago.
Okay.
This is a long time ago.
Gotta be in the last 20 years. 'Cause
Okay.
That's how long I've been involved.
Well, and so, guys, if it was for greedy gain, we started out calling him Yahweh. We called him Yahweh and Yeshua. So, uh-oh.
Don't mind me, I just threw my pen.
Were you throwing that at me?
No, I feel like we say pretty close to Yahweh.
Uh-huh.
Like we say Yahweh. Jokingly, my kids will probably be happy because they're always like, "What? Who? Who are you talking about?" But I would love to go on that adventure and study it out too, because
Yeah.
I've never actually just deeply studied that out myself. I've just kind of thought, well, that could be that too.
Mhm.
It's a breath. It's his name.
It's
So-
a breath, it's his name. And when you pronounce it out, I've always seen it as Yahuwah. But we're going to study it.
Yep.
So you brought something to us. Both of you brought something to us that we're definitely going to study out.
I think it makes a difference too, seeing it from somebody that you've seen, that you've known, who bears good fruit,
Yes.
who's trustworthy. I mean, somebody's been in this as long as he has. I'll definitely go search
His whole
it out.
life.
Yes,
That's amazing.
and that's easy to accept. But when other people,
Not all of them.
yeah, sometimes I feel like it is for a greedy gain. I can definitely see what he's talking
That
about.
would make me sick if it is. That really would hurt my
What?
hurt my feelings on these people.
We're at a time of growth. Growth pains hurt.
So guys, choose your fights. If there's
Yes.
a battle that someone's trying to pick with you, look and see what's the collateral damage that's going to come from that. Shay, you've been in the military. Just because someone shoots at you doesn't mean you run out in the middle of the field and start shooting or casting bombs back, right? Well,
Wrong
He
place,
does.
wrong person. Yeah, well.
He's like, oh,
well, perhaps they do.
I think it's called eye for an eye at that point.
Even sweet little Tanya back there, she's like, yeah.
After an eye.
Okay, but reverence with contentment is great game. To respect someone and be content in everything that you're doing, or to have respect and have contentment in everything you're doing means a whole lot. Bethany, would you pull up Philippians 4:11 through 12? Yes, sir.
Does that mean like being humble, like having respect and then being content?
Content means to be
Content.
happy no matter where you are, no matter what's going on around you. You're content.
Yep.
That's a beautiful spot.
It is a beautiful
But I guess
spot.
that would be humble,
Yeah.
because probably people are not content.
They want more.
Want
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, and a humble person is generally content. And that's why they're so humble. They're not angry. They're not angry, but the word content itself means that if you're rich, if you're poor, if you have nothing but you have much, you're content.
You're okay with it.
Okay, so it doesn't matter your station in life. If you're in prison, you're content.
Yep.
It's better in prison than being outside.
That it says that in scriptures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I did a lot more reading when I was in there.
Hey, the amount of time I would have if I didn't have a lot of things I've got would be amazing. It would be truly amazing.
Definitely feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I got 14 employees or 18 employees. How many?
8. Oh, dropped on 7. So we're back to 16.
Yeah, we got 16 employees here. And so we've got a business.
16 here?
Huh?
There's 16?
Uh-huh. We've got 16 employees. We've got, tons of stuff that has to be done. Mm-hmm.
Where are we at in Philippines?
Philippians 4:11 through 12 and Hebrews 13:5. I know you love Hebrews.
It's a Philippians 4. I'm sorry.
For we brought nothing into the world, and it is impossible to take anything out. So reverence with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing not into the world, and it is impossible to take anything out. Can't be buried with all your money. It's just going to rot.
Came in naked, you're gonna leave that way.
Yep.
That's the truth.
Well, that's what somebody said. I saw a little meme and it said on Judgment Day, you won't be standing there with all your things. It'll be you standing there with your works, with what you had done. Like, you're not going to have all the things you bought or all the stuff that we were, oh, it
All the
said,
provisions you have.
it was Seth Place that said that.
Yeah.
He was like, all the things we put our efforts into every single day are not going to be standing there with us that day.
And they don't count anything for our eternal life either.
Mm-mm.
I mean, sadly, we live in a secular world where we are literally back in Egypt and we're working for the man. And so we
man.
work.
Shoot, man.
It's a pleasure working for you.
Shoot, man.
You work for the man and we work for the man, and that's
We all
that's
work for the man.
Everybody works for the man.
We're all back in Egypt. We're Hebrew slaves.
So next week we're off a little bit,
Yes.
one day.
Philippians.
4:11 through 12.
Would you speak up loud?
Yes, 4:11 through 12.
Thank you. That was loud.
Not that I speak concerning need, for I have learned to be content in whatever state I am. I know what it is to be humbled, and I know what it is to have an excess. In any and every situation, I have learned both to be filled and to be hungry, both to have an excess and to be in need.
So Paul is actually carrying it to the extremes there. He knows what it is to be humble, and in this instance, he's using humility as being poor. And then he knows what it is to have excess, more than he could possibly use. He knows both, but he knew how to be content in both situations. In prison, what were the other ones, Bethany?
He says also to be filled and to be hungry.
To be hungry with an empty stomach and growling, content. But how many of us go, I'm hungry, listen to my stomach. I know. We all do that. We all do that. So, huh? Well, that's just sometimes hunger.
Yeah, not just be hungry.
Yeah, you just are hungry. Okay, and then Hebrews 13:5.
Let your way of life be without the love of silver, and be satisfied with what you have. For he himself has said, I shall never leave you nor forsake you.
And you know, guys, be happy with what you have.
Yes.
I have seen a lot of wealthy people. I was in banking many years ago. I saw a lot of wealthy people. They were the most unhappy people, the most uncontent people. They wanted more, more, more. They never had enough. So wealth does not make you happy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're filling their soul with things that they want.
Materialistic.
They're filling their lives with things, but it doesn't do anything for their soul. I think it detracts from the soul if you're constantly buying, buying, buying. So I don't see how it does anything for the spirit man.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You're just feeding your wants, not your needs.
So usually it's because they're trying to replace that not being content within themselves.
Yes.
Because me, it was drugs. I used drugs as a way to try to make me feel content. It was a momentary fix. But that's what I think people who are lost are doing. They're constantly trying to fill their lives with things that they think will make them feel complete when it won't.
That's
Only
true.
they will.
And then it's
Because I didn't
sad,
have money.
and it doesn't.
So I use drugs, yeah.
Yeah. So then you just keep buying, and you're just as unhappy as you were before you started buying.
So some people just want things because they think that that's what shows that they have a good life or that they're okay.
And that's worried about the outward appearance.
Yeah.
You know, what are they going to think about me? Again, focuses back on me, me, me.
Talk about me. We're talking
Yeah.
about
I think I've heard that song
yeah,
before.
there you go. She recognized one.
So when we have food and clothes or covering, we shall be satisfied with these, the simple things. But those wishing to be rich fall into a trial and a snare, and into many foolish and injurious lusts, which plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of silver is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some, by longing for it, have strayed from the belief and pierced themselves through many pains. So guys, how many people have run after the gold and the silver and the money, and
It's empty.
what are you willing to do for it?
Exactly.
I
It's
mean-
a never-ending thing.
It's a never
You
ending.
can't have all the money in the world. There's
More
no
money,
way.
more problems.
There's more money.
Yeah, more money.
I was talking to a guy one time, and I said, so how much property is going to be enough? Well, as long as I own the property next to me, I'm happy.
Oh, I never had money like that.
No, listen to me.
It would never end.
It's a never ending project, because once you buy the property next to you, then there's property on the other side. You got to buy it.
Yep.
So that means you're never, ever going to have enough. So where's the contentment in that? There is none. There is none.
So it says learn to be content.
You have to learn to be happy and content with where you are.
So Miss Kathy, my friend in Brownwood, and I think I've even heard Tiffany say that we're stewards. We're stewards over this area that he has given us, over the job, over the money that he allows us to have, and we should do it with that in mind because it's his money,
Yes.
his land, his property,
Yeah.
his business. You always say this is his.
This is his.
This is his. He gives it to us. To,
Our children are his.
yes.
The kids are his. And
Everything's
that's
on
one of the
loan.
toughest things is to give the kids, to lay the kids down on the altar and not go with their mine. They're his. They're on loan to you. And after 20, they're theirs. They're his, but
There it
they're,
is, but they're,
that they're not yours anymore to make any decisions. So, okay. The love of silver is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some, longing for it, have strayed from the belief and pierced themselves through many pains. Okay, Luke 9:25, Seth, Matthew 16:26, Shay, Ecclesiastes 5:15 through 20, Bailey, Mark 8:34 through 38. Okay, Luke.
For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and is himself destroyed or lost?
Matthew. Matthew?
Call me Luke.
I called you Luke?
Yeah.
How about Matthew 16:26?
6:20 through 26?
16:26.
Okay, got you. It is on page 937. Or 38. For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and loses his own life? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life?
What does it gain? And we're fixing to hit that one. Ecclesiastes. Mm-hmm.
5,
5.
15 through 20.
15 through 20. Yes, sir?
As he came naked from his mother's womb, so he returns to those he came. And from his labor which goes into his hands, he takes none whatsoever. And this too is a grievous evil. Exactly as he came, so he goes. And what gain has he since he toiled for the wind? All his days he also eats in darkness, and with much sorrow and sickness and wrath. See what I have seen. It is good and beautiful for one to eat and drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor, which he toils under the sun all the days of his life, which Elohim gives him, for it is his portion. Further, when Elohim has given any man riches and wealth, and permitted him to enjoy them, and to receive his portion, and rejoice in his labor, this is a gift of Elohim. Though it not be much, let him remember the days of his life, but Elohim bears witness by the gladness of his heart.
Ooh. This one's pretty deep, and I'm going to repeat the first verse just in case the listeners didn't hear it. As he came naked from his mother's womb, so he returns. Who said we came into this world naked, we go home naked?
Oh,
Seth?
Seth Ross is right there.
So we came into this world naked from our mother's womb. So the same way we return. To go as he came, and from his labor which goes into his hand, he takes none whatsoever. So everything that you do on this earth counts for absolutely nothing. The day you die, nothing counts for anything except for the way you've treated your family, the way you've taken care of your children, the way you've taken care of your parents. And I'm telling you, these are the works. The way you've treated the stranger on the street, the way you've treated coworkers. These are the things that will count. These are the things that will stand there in front of judgment with you.
Judgment, speaking of.
Are you looking at me?
She's
talking-
like 7.
Seth?
Oh my God.
hey, he's got one more week.
No. He's got 1 week to make it up with Taco Bell.
Hey, I've been nice.
Taco Bell.
Hey, I've been
That's just a joke. I've been messing
Brought you
with
lunch
him.
this week.
He did. Thank you
Mark.
so much.
8.
It's on page 967.
967.
It's like 10 bucks.
Yeah. Elohim adores 10 Taco Bells.
Mark 8:34.
And calling near the crowd with his taught one, he said to them, whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his stake and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life shall lose it, but whoever loses his life for the sake of me and the good news, he shall save it. For what shall it profit a man if he gains all the world and loses his own life? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words in his adulterous and sinning generation, in this adulterous and sinning generation, of him and the Son of Man also shall be ashamed when he comes in the esteem of his Father and the set upon messengers.
That is perfect. So what is the main verse in all this, Bailey? 36?
36.
I think so too. For what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own life? And guys, this is life eternal. You may own all the property and the property next to that and the property next to that till you own everything. What is it going to profit you?
Take it with you.
You're
More
not going to
so.
take it with you. It's not going to do one stinking thing for your eternal life. No, it's not going to count for anything. All the houses, all the cars, all the jewelry doesn't count for one thing. On this plane, maybe for you it does, but when you go into the eternal, not going to count. Not going to count. In fact, there are several places in Scripture where it says that it is very difficult for the rich to get into the kingdom.
Imagine.
Everything is clouded. They cannot see what the truth is. So they pursue vanity.
Rich man walks away sad,
The rich man does walk away sad.
many possessions.
Okay. But you, oh man, would you go to Ezekiel 7:19? Grant, Proverbs 17:24. Sherry, Sherry.
Sherry. Oh, you miss Sherry.
Where's my Sherry?
You miss Sherry.
She's probably snuggled up on the couch right now, huh?
We missing her. Tanya, would you read 1 Corinthians 10:14? Anybody else back there want to read? Seth. James 4:6-8. Okay. But you, O man of Elohim, flee from all of this and pursue righteousness, reverence, belief, love, endurance, meekness. This is what we're supposed to pursue. Flee from all of this physical, money hungry, greedy stuff. Flee from it. Pursue righteousness. That means to pursue means to follow after it, to chase after it. Reverence. Reverence for Abba, for his Torah, for people around you, belief in Yah, love, endurance, and meekness. And again, be humble. Be humble. Okay, Ezekiel
Ezekiel what?
7:19.
They throw their silver into the streets, and their gold becomes as filth. Their silver and their gold is unable to deliver them in the day of wrath of Yahuwah. They do not satisfy their appetite, nor fill their stomachs, because it has been their stumbling block of crookedness.
So guys, in the end days, you may have 50,000 chunks of gold. Is it going to buy you any bread?
No, ma'am.
There probably won't be bread to be bought, right? Okay, so it's going to be worthless. Just chunk it out in the street, right? Proverbs 17:24.
Wisdom is before the face of the understanding one, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth.
Foolish men. What does that look for?
Okay.
Okay, 1 Corinthians. And it's actually, 1 Corinthians, actually 10:13-15.
Sorry, 10:13-15.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No trial is overtaken you except such as is common to man, and Elohim is trustworthy, who shall not allow you to be tried beyond what you are able, but with the trial shall also make the way of escape, enabling you to bear it.
Amen.
Therefore, my beloved ones, flee from idolatry.
We should flee from everything that is not Yah, right? James 4:6-8.
4:6-8. But he gives greater favor because of this, he says, Elohim resists the proud, but gives favor to the humble. So then subject yourselves to Elohim, resist the devil, and he shall flee from you. Draw near to Elohim, and he shall draw near to you. Cleanse hands, sinners, and cleanse the hearts, you double-minded.
Why would Abba prefer the humble over the proud?
Because Satan's a...
Because they'll change easier.
The humble appreciate everything you do for them. Do the proud are generally haughty and they're unteachable. If you find someone who is unteachable, they're usually very proud and they're not much use for a lot of things until they're broken. It's kind of like a,
They know better.
they know better than everyone around them.
Yeah.
And so pride rides high before a fall. So the proud, they're basically unteachable unless they have a change of heart. And I've run into proud people before, and they're very difficult to work with because you can't teach them anything. They already know it, or they know a better way to do it. Doesn't matter if you've done it 50 years, they can outdo it. Fight the good fight of the belief. Lay hold on everlasting life to which you were also called and have confessed the good confession before many witnesses. In the sight of Elohim who gives life to all and of the Messiah Yahusha who witnessed the good confession before Pontius Pilate, I charge you that you guard the commands spotlessly, blamelessly until the appearing of our Master Yahusha Messiah.
What? This is part of you?
Hello, out of his own mouth, Shaul is telling all of us to guard the commands spotlessly, blamelessly. Go to John 14:15, Bethany, Deuteronomy 5:10, Shade, Deuteronomy 10:12, Bailey, Matthew 16:27, and Grant, Psalms 19:7-10. Okay. John.
If you love me, you shall guard my commands, and I shall ask the Father. You want just that one?
No, go ahead. Read as much as you think.
Okay. And I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper to stay with you forever, the Spirit of truth, whom the world is unable to receive because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you. If you love me, you shall guard my commands.
If you love me, you will guard my commands. And if you guard my commands, I will send you a helper.
Yes.
If you're guarding and doing his commands, he will send you a helper who will guide you.
I just love that verse right before there. I mean,
Read it.
Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these he shall do, because I go to my Father. And whatever you ask in my name, that I shall do, in order that the Father might be esteemed in the Son. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it. If you love me, and you shall guard my
And
commands.
here's the
It's a bunch
biggest
of
if.
ifs.
If you guard my commands.
That's just
Deuteronomy.
amazing to me. That
It is.
greater works than what he did, because he's with the Father. Of course, he's acting through us,
Look.
but it's just like,
Are we doing it?
no. That's all I was like, yeah, we're doing his works. And I was like, not on the same scale. We're doing his work.
We are doing his work. But guys, are we doing the works that he did in greater? No.
Mm-mm.
We're not healing.
Mm-mm.
We're not healing the sick. We're not healing the blind.
That's where I have an issue. Oh,
Where's your faith? Where is our faith? And guys, listen.
because you have healed the sick and the blind. I was a blind, sick person. You brought the truth to me and it healed me.
Wow.
Now, I may not have been blind, not couldn't see, couldn't walk, but spiritually I was blind, I was deaf, I was dumb.
That's true.
And that they're all in this room. That was my thing earlier. We may not be doing physical signs, but by sharing his truth, we are awakening people. The blind are given sight. The deaf
Wow.
can hear. The blind can see.
Wow. And Israel is that blind man. I see.
Sorry.
No, I see.
Now
Thank
you
for
see.
sharing.
You're welcome. See? Now it's happened right here before your very eyes.
Where we at? Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy 5:10.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
But showing loving commitment to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands.
Showing loving commitment to thousands of those who love me. And what, Bethany?
Guard,
And guard his
protect,
commands.
fight.
That's
He's willing to fight for them. Deuteronomy 10:12. Shay.
And now, Israel, what is Yahweh your Elohim asking of you, but to fear Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in all his ways and to love him, and to serve Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being.
That is so simple. I mean, that is so simple. That's what he's asking of us. That's what he wants us to do. Okay, Psalms 19.
7 through 10, you said?
Yes, sir.
He said, the Torah of Yahuwah is perfect, bringing back the being. The witness of Yahuwah is trustworthy, making wise the simple. The orders of Yahuwah are straight, rejoicing the heart. The command of Yahuwah is clear, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yahuwah is clean, standing forever. The right wrongs of Yahuwah are true. They are righteous altogether. Most desirable than,
19.
more desirable than gold, than much fine gold, and sweeter than honey in the honeycomb.
Oh, that is perfect. Deuteronomy 17:18 through 20.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Matthew 16:27. Would you read Deuteronomy 17:18?
For the Son of Man is going to come in the steam of his Father and with his messengers, and then he shall reward each according to his works.
Yahusha's coming in the esteem of his Father, and he's going to reward us for what?
Our works.
What? Works. That 5-letter word? Yes, sir.
I got a scripture.
Okay.
Ecclesiastes 12:13 through 14.
Okay.
Is that okay for it?
Oh, please do.
Let us hear the conclusion of the entire matter. Fear Elohim and guard his commands, for this applies to all mankind. For Elohim shall bring every good work into right ruling, including all that is hidden, whether good or whether evil.
Every work you do is going to be brought into vision. Where?
Oh, get
Wait.
it. Hit it.
Wait. Not yet.
She knows it.
Deuteronomy 17. I don't know what just happened. There was.
Deuteronomy 17, verse 18 to 20. And it shall be, when he sits on the throne of his reign, that he shall write for himself a copy of this Torah in a book from the one before the priests, the Levites.
17.
And it shall be with him, and he shall read it all the days of his life, so that he learns to fear you, who is his Elohim, guard all the words of this Torah and these laws to do them. To do.
Guard and do.
To be doing.
Okay, let's finish. Let's wrap this up. Y'all ready?
Let's
Yes.
see.
Yes, ma'am.
I can,
I told y'all we could do it in less than an hour and 16 minutes. Inside of Elohim, who gives life to all, and of Messiah Yahusha, who witnessed the good confession where Pontius Pilate, I charge you, that you guard the command spotlessly, blamelessly, and until the appearing of our Master Yahusha Messiah, which in his own seasons he shall reveal. The blessed and only ruler, the sovereign of sovereigns, and the master of masters, who alone has immortality, dwelling in unapproachable light, whom no one has seen or is able to see, to whom be respect and everlasting might. Amen. Charge those who are rich in this present age not to be high-minded, nor to trust in the uncertainty of riches, but in the living Elohim who gives us richly all of our enjoyment, to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, storing up for themselves a good foundation for the time to come, so that they lay hold on every everlasting life. This is the key right here, guys. To do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous, always ready to share, storing up for yourselves a good foundation for the time to come. A good foundation today to stand on for the times to come, so that they lay hold on what?
everlasting life.
That's the key to everything that Paul is telling Timothy. He's like, this is the key right here. This is what I'm wanting you to teach. I want you to lay hold of everlasting life, and I want you to teach others to do so. Oh, Timotheus, Watch over that which has been entrusted to you, turning aside from the profane and empty babblings and contradictions of the falsely called knowledge. Knowledge of man is nothing, right? It's the knowledge of Elohim that we want, which some, having professed it, have missed the goal concerning the belief. Favor be with you. Amen. And so, guys, how many people want to argue over it's the lunar moon, it's the calendar moon, it's the Zadok calendar? There are so many arguments out there, and people get. I've seen one man, he just gets plumb ugly to the point that he's ruined his testimony. For what? An argument that is not going to bring you salvation? Because it won't.
None of us should be arguing to be right. We should
No.
all be sharing truth to help others. There
And
shouldn't be a right or wrong.
with love.
With love.
And
yes.
if they can't accept it, then smile at them, love them, because Abba loves them. He doesn't hate them. He loves them. Smile at them, love them, and go, you're just not ready. I mean, sometimes they may ask a question, but they may not be ready to hear what you're going to say. So, mic drop.
Do it.
So wait. Who is Paul saying has to guard and do the commands?
Everyone.
She only kept it one.
Mic drop.
Like, it kind of
It
dropped,
bounced.
it bounced off the side and down to the floor.
Shattered into pieces.
Yeah, look, guys, we finished Timothy 1.
In 3 chapters.
Yay! Next
Two
week.
hours.
Under an hour and 16 minutes almost. Listen, guys, next week will be
Second Timothy.
the beginning of Shabbat. We'll do Shabbat here.
Yeah.
But we're probably not going to start Timothy until after Sukkot, if that's okay with everybody. The second Timothy. So we'll cut everything short and head on out to get situated for the start of
No, wait a
Sukkot
minute.
that night. What?
Cutting short. I don't know, you did short today. I'm proud of you. You just had a really long lunch.
We did.
Yeah.
You know what? I think everybody's just tired.
I was
Not me, I didn't
also,
have sugar.
I did. I shouldn't have.
Drop my.
Because
I'm tired
it
even when I
dropped
don't
and
have sugar.
crashed. So guys, listen, I hope I really pray. We didn't pray. We didn't pray to start this. I pray that you got the understanding from this lesson that everything you've been taught wrong,
And that you start doing.
and you need to be guarding and doing His commandments, and that's it in a nutshell, because that brings you everlasting eternal life. Okay, let's pray. Oh, Abba, Yahweh, we just praise you and thank you for today. Father, we're asking for you to forgive us for all of our shortcomings. And Father, we have many of them. Our thoughts, our heart. Jeremiah tells us our heart's evil, and above all things, it's evil. Above everything else, our hearts are evil. So Father, forgive us for our hearts. Forgive us for our thoughts. Forgive us for the words we just blabber out of our mouths sometimes. Please forgive us, Father. Forgive us when we hurt others. This is a time of repenting and turning back to you, Abba. Please help everyone in this room, everyone even not in this room that is part of our group. Give us the understanding, guide us to the wisdom to stop what we're doing and to turn and go the opposite direction, Father. Any area where we're falling short, Father, I ask that you just show us this week, show us before Tuesday, Abba. Help us to repent, help us to change, help us to let go. Let go of the things that are not important to you, Father. Let us cling to those things that are important. And the things that are important to you is to love you with all our heart, mind, and soul, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. Abba Yah, if we are doing that, we're basically doing all the commandments. And sometimes that last one is very hard. Give us strength, Father. Only through your grace, only through your mercy can we be obedient to your commandments. That's the only way we do it. That's where your grace comes in. You give us the strength and the ability to do what you want us to do. So, Father, we love you and we praise you, Father. We ask, Father, that this lesson goes out to everyone that needs to hear it. Those naysayers that don't want it, we don't care if they watch it or not. Father, if there's just one person that watches it and learns from this lesson today, we're just going to praise you. We praise you anyway, but we're going to thank you for that one person, Father. Be with us as we go through this week, Father. Be with everyone who's on the road traveling. We bless your holy, holy name, Father. In the precious name of Yahusha, we pray these things. Amen.
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 Beautiful.
Oh,
Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We're a happy group. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.